When we think of exercise, we typically think of things like weightlifting, running, biking, swimming. You get the idea. More strenuous activity. Oftentimes, fat loss is approached with this intense physical activity in mind. But in actuality, your diet is the best place to start when it comes to fat loss. But what kind of physical activity is best? Well, weightlifting is an exceptional companion to a proper individualized diet because more muscle means that our bodies are more metabolically active. But beyond that, my vote goes to what was probably obvious from the title of the video: walking. This may surprise some because walking doesn't fall into the typical category of more strenuous exercise, and therefore it is often disregarded. But in my experience, and the experience of many of my clients, prioritizing walking, or less strenuous movement, on a regular basis is an absolute game changer. This is in part because with most regular cardio sessions, though very good for the heart, do not burn all that many calories in the grand scheme of things. And on top of that, the exhaustion from the cardio may make any given person less inclined to want to move as much outside of their 1 to 2 hour workout. But regular movement should be the goal for longevity. And again, it doesn't have to be strenuous. The fact that walking isn't inherently strenuous means that you can do it more often and not worry about your body breaking down. And just because walking doesn't typically leave a person laying on the floor gasping for air does not mean that you don't receive benefits beyond fat loss.
Oh, I'm going to die. I'm so tired. Everything hurts. Running is impossible.
Regular walking can decrease stress and anxiety, improve cardiovascular health, strengthen bones, relieve joint pain, improve circulation, and again, contribute to one's overall longevity. Funny how this very basic human function is so powerful. I'm sure most of us are familiar with fitness trackers and the overall gamification of health and fitness.
I got it.
See it? Dave, I just took a step and it counted my step.
29, 30, 31.
Oh, I'm at 37.
You run in place, you get more numbers. Look.
Oh, really?
I'd argue that the best feature on any fitness tracker is the step counter. This is because even if you believe you're getting a solid amount of steps in your day, the tracker holds you accountable and keeps you consistent. It's like calorie counting, only easier because the tracker does all the, tracking for you. And from there, you can adjust your steps up or down depending on your goals. When I prepare for a bodybuilding show, for example, one of the main adjustments that I make has to do with increasing my steps. It truly does work wonders. Anyway, let's hear some more details from another success coach, Hunter Kowalski, about his take on walking. Coach Hunter is currently prepping for bodybuilding shows, plural.
Yep.
And I'd be curious to know how you've approached your steps, your walking as a part of this prep. And how you feel about walking as a whole as far as weight loss goes and how it fits into the health equation.
Yeah, well, I think non-exercise, exercise and or movement, so to elicit exercise, I guess you could say, you don't have to go to a gym and get on a bike or an elliptical or a Stairmaster or something like that to be fit and active. There's other ways to go about it, and potentially it might be a better route, because one thing that will happen is, let's just say that I'm your coach, for example. If I write down on your plan 30 minutes on the elliptical, you therefore believe that because you did that 30 minutes, and this might be subconscious or it might be something that consciously you do in your head, you might be like, well, you know what, I did that 30 minutes of cardio, so I don't really need to go for walks. Maybe I won't go get the mail today, maybe I won't do this, and then next thing you know, that 30 minutes that you took out of your day, and maybe that was an hour total, but with drive time, talking to some people around the gym, whatever the case might be, that actually turned into, let's just say you burned 300 calories, during that time. You might have actually caused 500 calorie reduction in how much you burned throughout the rest of the day just because you didn't move as much. Whereas, and that's actually shown in research too. Whereas if you had a step count, then you could be like, well, maybe I'll do some cleaning. Maybe I'll do the laundry. Maybe I'll go get the mail. Maybe I'll go walk the dog. Maybe I'll, play with my kids. Maybe I'll do this and that. Then you're actually setting yourself up and you're burning more calories based on whatever your baseline is. And then like Tom said too, I'm on a contest prep. So one thing that actually happens is as we lose weight, and this will actually happen to you too, even if you're like trying to lose 15 pounds in, just kind of get down into a standard level of healthy body fat, your energy levels are going to come down during the process a little bit, during the process of cutting your calories down and or exercising more. So as your energy comes down, it's good to have some kind of a baseline of like, hey, you need to get up off of the couch and go move. So that's where the step count comes in. And I think it's great to have a step counter of some sort that you just use. Get a baseline where you're at, and if you work a desk job and you do like 5,000 right now, maybe you can just add in like 1,000 on a daily basis. And basically what that looks like is, if you have a day where you're like, okay, I just went ahead and did 10,000 steps today, I just had a really busy day, then cool, you don't need to do anything. If it's a day where you were laying around all day, or maybe you're sitting all day for work, then that might mean that you might need to take a conscious effort and go walk a little bit more, So like what it looks like for myself, because I've been hitting between 10 and 12,000 steps per day. And actually during my contest prep, and most likely all the way through, I will not do any formal cardio besides just hitting that step count. Most likely my step count won't really go any higher than that. If anything, I might even bring it down a little bit as I get closer to stage, just because of the fatigue cost that comes with steps. But besides the point, I can actually go through a contest prep with manipulations of food, make sure my steps stay high, and then training, and I don't have to really do any cardio, right? So with that, basically what it looks like for me, because my steps are so high, and if I'm busy with school classes and things like that, I do sit on the computer a lot, so therefore I don't get a lot of steps, especially like on the weekend. So maybe on the weekend I have to go for like an hour walk, and then I have to kind of be conscious of like, if I go to a grocery store, park far away. Mm-hmm. But during the week, if I have a busy day of training clients, then I hit all 10,000 steps, on just going through my day. But what basically happens is throughout the week, I just make sure to keep that baseline at about 10,000. And sometimes it's a little bit over, sometimes a little bit under. Like, for example, last Saturday, I did almost 20,000. Therefore, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I could do a little less the next day. So that's kind of how I do it with that. But yeah, I think, personally, I think if you look at the health benefits of it as well, as a board certified health coach, I do think that getting steps in and potentially being around 8 to 10,000 is probably like a good baseline for every single individual out there. Mm-hmm. The person that wouldn't really want to pay much attention to steps would be like, say you're a construction worker, or maybe you walk on your feet all day. Like, it's probably not really all that important that you are like, okay, I currently do 20,000 steps. I'm going to do more and go to 30,000, and now you're like walking outside of those. That's probably going to be it's like a U-shaped curve. There's probably like too much that you can do. Yeah. And that would be an individual, like I've worked with people like that before, where it's like, okay, we're not really going to look at steps. And honestly, like with those individuals, whether they're trying to gain weight, lose weight, or maintain weight, they probably don't need to modulate their cardiovascular activity at all. They probably just need to clean up the diet a little bit, maybe add in some activity via exercise with resistance training, and then they're probably good to go. Yeah. Now, if that person was to, say, get a new job where they're active individuals on their feet all day, but then they got a desk job, maybe they got promoted, which actually that's happened to my clients before. They got promoted to like HR or something like that. Now they're sitting all day. Mm-hmm. That might be a case where like, okay, you used to get 20,000. You don't have to keep that up, but let's just make sure you keep 10,000 in. And that 10,000 might therefore become like a little bit of, oh, I gotta go walk on the treadmill today for 30 minutes just to get that in. And that's gonna be like 10,000. I think if you can get 10,000 in, you're winning. But if you're currently at 3,000 on a regular basis, don't feel like you have to jump right up to 10. Maybe that's something you can work your way up over like a year or even several years of getting the steps in. Yeah. So a lot of times I like to just make like 1,000 step adjustments, which for most people end up being about a half a mile. So, 1,000 steps will be literally just half a mile walking, which for most people, they can do that in 10 to 15 minutes pretty easily. Yeah. So breaking it down and like what it looks like. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on steps. Dude,
that was perfect.
So.
That was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you've been convinced by this point if you hadn't been already. And don't get me wrong, We're not discouraging strenuous activity. Not at all, actually. But prioritizing walking is good for anyone at any age, at any time. Wishing you all health and happiness. Thanks for watching.